What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Right here we have the Spore Mantis. Now, I did the intro and I did the priming, and somehow I deleted the files. I don't know how I did it. Something happened. So this is where we're gonna pick it up at. So right here, the prime that I used was just some brown dye, just like I did for Behemoth. Right here, if you want to pick it up. Anytime you are dyeing with 3D models, you gotta look for this word right here for it. Any other brand won't work. So we're gonna move that to the side. Now, before I start painting and everything, let's see if y'all can see any of the detail. Now, this is almost like what we see in the film. Sadly, the Spore Mantis does not get any other screen time other than that one scene in Skull Island. Now, it would have been nice we could have seen this make a return on the Netflix series or the comics or anything. I believe this does actually show up in Godzilla X Kong, The Hunted, and the Trophy Room. I think this is in there. I could be wrong, but other than that, we don't see the Spore Mantis at all. Would have been nice to have seen this in the skull and the Hollow Earth, just like we see the tree mimic. But other than that, let's go on and get back to painting, shall we? So right here, we're going to need a paper towel. So we're going to do mostly some dry brushing right here. And what I am going to be using is a wool type color. Alright, right here all I did was add some antique white to the wool color. Now I got some swamp green for the moss. And now we're going to finish it with the matte varnish. Alright, the matte varnish is cured. Now, before we start everything, I want to at least let y'all know that the matte varnish somehow tinted the color because it's not as vibrant as it was just for y'all a moment ago, but for me, it's been a little bit. But I think it looks pretty good, and y'all probably already noticed the gloss varnish that's on the eyes, giving it that shine. So I like that it's actually got that little white dot right there from the light. But what do y'all think? Do y'all think I did a pretty good job on the Spore Mantis? Let me know in the comments. And also, I got a surprise for y'all. I didn't just make one Spore Mantis, no. I actually made a second one, but a smaller version. And I did that for a reason, and I'll tell y'all here in a second. But before I do, I want to at least let y'all know everything that y'all see right here on this one is on this one, but the camera for some reason can't pick it up, and I don't know why. Let me try zooming in. Okay, it's a little bit showing now that it's about the right same on both. And they both have the gloss varnish on the eyes. Now, this one gave me a little bit of problems trying to paint with the dry brushing and doing to get just like this one. But I am glad to say that it actually turned out good. Now, granted, the arm right here is slightly off. And that is because it ended up breaking. I glued it, but somehow it kind of went on the outside instead of being like how this one is. But that just makes it a little bit different. So I do like that as well. Now we're going to move on to some size comparisons, and we're going to be looking at these separate because one is a Skull Island variant, while this one I am going to be doing as a Hollow Earth size variant. Now you'll see what I am talking about later on into this, but let's go on and get into this, shall we? Alright, so first up for the big one right here, I am actually going to be using as the Skull Island version to go with my other large Skull Island figures. Now, Ramarak, or the big one, or Skull Devil right here, does actually work with that, and we'll get a little bit more into that when I get to him. But the reason I came up with the size for this is actually from my custom Stir Buffalo. Because when you look up the bio for this and see the size for it, and you look at the Buffalo one, it shows that it is slightly larger than the Buffalo. So that is what I did. I gave it a little bit more height to it. And I think it came out about the right size for both of them. Now, grant all these, instead the ant actually got their sizes from this one. Instead, the ant and Skullcrawl, my bad. Like the Magma Turtle and the Holy Tiger or Spirit Tiger came from the Stir Buffalo and the Kong figure. So I'm going to move you to the back. So next up, we're going to look at the ant. Now, granted, we don't see these two near each other. We don't see the Spore Mantis with anything but a soldier. Now, when we look at this ant is about the size of a human. So when we look at this, they actually do size pretty well with each other. Now, it would have been nice to have seen a conflict between a Spore Mantis and giant ant. Granted, they didn't really give these a name or anything. It's just giant ant from the show. But I think ain't this supposed to be the ant that's like making the bird sounds from the movie? I know they were saying that it was an ant, but I'm not sure if it's the same one or not. If anyone knows that, let me know in the comments. So we're going to move you to the back right here. Next, we're going to look at the Holy Tiger or Spirit Tiger. Now, grant this doesn't look bad because I know the tiger was meant to be larger than a person, but we didn't see this in the movie or in the show. We actually see this in the comic Kingdom of Kong. I think that was the right comic. But we saw a large version of this, like a alpha or Titan-sized version of what it's supposed to be. A regular one, I think, would be around this size. So we're going to move you to the back as well. For the Magma Turtle, these two ain't much to say on the Magma Turtle, but they are around the same size as in their bios for their height. So that's about it. That's talking about the top of his shell, not the trees. So we're going to move this to the back as well. Now for the Skullcrawler, I don't think this looks bad. I think this actually works out as what it should be, especially since this is the larger Skullcrawler, not one of the juvenile ones. Now, juvenile Skullcrawler would have been probably about the same height, or maybe, yeah, about the same height, I think, or slightly taller than it. But with Ramarak, or the big one right here, this actually works out in scale, I believe. It might be a lot longer, but I mean, the bigger something is, the longer it's going to be anyways, right? So yeah, I think that works out. So now we're going to move on to the smaller one. Alright, so now we're looking at the smaller Spore Mantis. We can see only 3 monsters that actually kind of works with this. Now, first up, I'm going to look at the Skullcrawler right here. When we look at these two, it's actually close enough to say that it's like the other size one I was trying to get, and the Skull Devil figure, or the higher figure. These two actually works great in scale as well because they're kind of close to what we just saw. Now with the Siren Jaw, hopefully I said that right. This creature on Skull Island is meant to be just as tall as a Skullcrawler, or just as large as a Skullcrawler, I guess you could say. We don't really see it interact with anything. We only see this in the Birth of Kong comic, only in one part. But I think these two work out pretty well in size. And then we have Kong right here. Now Kong is grant this is meant to be adult Kong, but I like to use this as the 2017 Skull Island Kong. Especially like right now with these two, this comes up to Kong's knee, just like how it would is when we watch when you watch the movie and see the buffalo walk in front of Kong, it's up to his knee. So these two actually work out fine together. So these three work out with that for the like the large creatures on Skull Island. But we do have another issue though. We can actually do something different. I'll show you right here in a second. Alright, so I've removed Kong and I added back the Spirit Tiger and an adult Kong right here, because you could say this is a smaller skull crawler. The Siren Jaw ain't really that large towards an adult Kong, and this is the size of the Spirit Tiger that Kong somewhat fights in the comic when it comes to size. So the regular size Spore Mantis and Skull Island would be around this size. And when you pair that with Kong right here, as you can see, Kong's foot is slightly longer than the Spore Mantis. So he could actually walk and step on that without even really noticing it. That kind of puts a size difference to effect on it. But great, he could do that with probably just that one. Well, he probably would notice it if this log actually got stuck in his foot as a splinter. He would know it. But jokes all to the side. So now we're going to move on to our last size of parasite. And that's between the larger Spore Mantis figure and Suko. Now looking at these, as I just did with the other Kong and the smaller one, when we take the Spore Mantis right here and put him with Kong, look at that. It comes at around the same height. I don't know how that ended up happening, but it is a nice size difference right there, showing that somehow that happened. I don't know how it happened, because that was just a happy accident that benefits everything apparently. Now this is about half the size of Suko, coming up to slightly under his chest. And this Spirit Tiger right here being the larger one, being also with another larger piece. Now granted, when I say this could be a Hollow Earth version as well, we stand this up on its tail and we look at it, it comes up to Kong's waist almost. It's about at his waist. And there in the movie, we saw these two run through a jungle where the trees were larger than Kong. Kong could walk right under the trees without really anything like being on top of him. So how do we know there's not a large one of these down there? We might see one in the future, maybe in a book, maybe in a movie, game. Who knows? It'd be awesome to see this one make a return, though. It would be nice if we saw a lot of the animals return. But we'll have to wait and see. So I'm going to get everyone out the way, and we're going to bring in the little one and everything there. Alright, so like I said, I hope everybody enjoyed the video. And I want to know what y'all think about these two right here. And I hope to see everybody next time.